Hey, what's up? It's Jared with Gear and Light. Today we are going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go through Adobe Lightroom and we're going to look at the lenses that I have enjoyed shooting with the most. And we're going to do this kind of blind. I've been using Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud when I have smaller batches of images that I'm editing. I use Adobe Creative Cloud Classic or CC Classic when I have larger amounts of photos that I need to edit. And what's nice about Adobe Lightroom and most image editing applications is you can sort by camera, you can sort by lens, and I get a lot of questions asked about lenses. And so I wanted to actually just go into Lightroom and let's take a look at some of the images that I've taken, and we're gonna go by lens with the lenses that I currently shoot with. So this is gonna be kind of interesting. So I'm gonna go up here and we're gonna choose by lens. And there's a lot of lenses that I've shot with. I don't understand why there's so many like iPhone 11 Pro Max lenses in there. I don't quite understand that. There are some lenses I'm going to skip over. I'm going to focus just on my Sony lenses today. I obviously have shot with other lenses before, and I don't know what's going to show up in here. There's a lot of different images that I've shot over the years, I guess, with Adobe Lightroom CC, and I do tend to delete some of those photos just so that it isn't using up all of my Creative Cloud storage, and just to kind of try and keep that library relatively clean, but there's a lot of stuff in there. So we're going to start with the E10-18 f4, which is a lens that I used to use a lot, but I don't typically use so much anymore. Here's a picture of a camera. This is the I believe that's the A7, or that's the A9 actually, you could tell by the dial. That's the A9 when I had it. Might even be the A9 II, I can't tell, and that's the brand new, at the time, 135mm G Master lens. Here's a photo that I took last year when we were on a trip. I mean, this lens does a great job, and I typically would throw it on my A60, probably A6500 at the time. Here's a photo, a portrait of my daughter, my other daughter when she was much younger, which was really only just a little over a year ago. And so there's, you know, just a few random photos in here. This one's a little dark, but it was in a dark room. I like this photo a lot. Needs to be aligned a little bit. I guess I didn't really spend too much time editing it, but there we go. That feels better now. And then just like a selfie that I took grabbing the camera. That was one of the nice things about that lens being just so wide, is having all of that extra room. So that's all that the 10-18 f4 had to offer in Lightroom Mobile here. In Lightroom Classic, I have a lot more photos, but I thought it would just be neat to go through it here. So here is the E35mm f2. I'm not even sure what lens that is. There's some older photos. I obviously haven't used this lens in a while. This is our dog, which is much older now. He's not tiny and as cute anymore, in my opinion, but that's how it goes with animals. Here's a photo I took inside of an airplane when I was flying, and one of the beltway to the terminal. This E35 f2, I'm struggling to remember which lens this is. I will throw it up on the screen, but I did use it to take some pictures of my Inspire 2 drone. I think this is probably around the time that I had gotten the drone. So, you know, those photos are okay. They're not that great. I'm not too impressed with those photos. Here we are moving, oh, these are EF lenses. We're going to skip over those. The FE 100mm f2.8 STF G Master lens I haven't used in a while. This lens, this is the 85. I used it to take pictures of my 85mm GM. This image actually has been shared a ton over on the Gear and Light Instagram, which was the Ditch Auto Instagram. This photo has been reshared hundreds of times, I think. I get notifications all the time. I think I brought this lens to my son's Aladdin performance. You can see here is my son, because I wanted the 100mm, and I don't know why I actually brought this lens, to be honest with you. This isn't that great of a photo. I was just trying to take a photo in low light with that lens, so I don't have a whole lot of photos to show for that lens. But like I said, I don't really use that lens too much. It was one of those lenses that I think was really hyped when it came out, and it is a fantastic lens, but it's just not practical with all of the other lenses that I have. So here's the newer FE 12 to 24mm 2.8 GM. I absolutely love this lens. It is more of a specialty lens, and it is expensive. It's probably not something that everybody will want to use, but I captured this beautiful image in Glacier National Park about a week ago. And then my buddy who has this 4Runner here, this first generation 4Runner, we drove it up to Glacier National Park, took a bunch of photos, and this lens is just absolutely amazing. You can see here, it's a little bit of distortion, makes the truck look a little weird because it's just such a wide shot, but it is a pretty amazing shot that I was able to get with that camera. Of course, when I set up the studio in here, I threw that lens on really quick just to take a nice wide shot. So you can see kind of my setup here from this photo. But this lens is great. I have shot a little bit of real estate with it, and I need to get out and shoot with this lens more. So if you're interested in seeing more of any of these lenses that I talk about, definitely let me know which one you're most interested in down in the comment section below, and that will be a lens that I will get out and shoot more with, so that I can come back and report to all of you and give you a little bit more insight into the performance of that lens. 135mm GM. This lens I actually rented early on. This is my daughter's first birthday, and we just got some great photos. That lens is just absolutely amazing. I was taking photos of her standing next to this chair with the pumpkin on it, because it was early November that we had the party, and then I caught this one of her knocking it over, which was pretty cute. But I mean, this lens just is phenomenal, and I actually just purchased this lens. I'd been holding off because it's one of those lenses that I would be afraid that I wouldn't use it often enough, but I'm forcing myself to use it because I just purchased it, of course. But I absolutely want to be using this lens more. I used this lens a bunch to take photos of the Nikon Z6 last year when I was shooting a lot with the Nikon. Here was one of those photos. That 135 is just phenomenal. It's a phenomenal lens. It's not cheap, but I mean, just look at the beautiful detail and the fall off. I mean, my gosh. And you can see I utilized that lens quite a bit. Here's a photo of my daughter, and of course the dog was out of focus because I was shooting probably wide open at f1.8. I was trying to get some photos of the dog, and he just wasn't really participating or minding. But I mean, look at the detail on my daughter here, and just that beautiful background. The rendering is just great. Got some just fantastic photos of her, all sorts of different angles, and that lens just produced beautiful images all the way across. Even, a little bit brighter here. Still looks absolutely gorgeous. And then I think this was like the first photo that I took using the lens of my older daughter. And so that lens, the 135 GM, I just love that lens, and it's why I finally convinced myself to put out the money. It's a lens that I know I will use more than the 12 to 24mm, but because I've been doing a lot of real estate lately, I felt like the 12 to 24mm would just be a good investment. So moving on to the 16 to 35 f2.8, that lens I was using a lot for real estate photography, and so there's a ton of photos in here with that lens for real estate photography. You can see some of these photos. Let me try and find a little bit nicer of a home, and so we'll slide through here. Boy, I took a lot of photos of this home and loaded a lot of them onto Lightroom CC. Usually when I have more than like 50 photos, I will use Classic instead of CC here. So here's some interior shots. The 16 to 35 is just a great lens for all around wide angle photography. It gives you a nice range. The f2.8 is nice. Just beautiful sharpness edge to edge. I mean, even if you look up in the corners, and I don't even think I applied the lens correction to these photos, but I mean, just beautiful sky renderings, the clouds and everything. I touch the colors up a little bit. I make the colors a little bit more intense in some of my images, but out of the camera, I mean, I think this is pretty close. This might have a little bit of sharpness added to it, but that's pretty close to out of camera. You're just getting just beautiful, beautiful shots. Let's move a little bit further. This house was fun because there was just a lot to it, a lot of angles. I mean, look how straight those lines are. All the lines and everything that are going on in here are just super straight, and a lot of lenses that go that wide are going to have issues with maintaining straight lines and when taking these types of pictures. I love this picture because I want that bedroom. It's just absolutely nice. This bathroom, I think this was the one that I used. Great, just beautiful image, really showing off the home. I tend to make my images a little bit more moody than the typical photographer that just makes everything super bright, which, I don't know, I think it's just a style choice, but that's kind of how I like it. And here's one outdoors. Of course, the location of the sun was way back here, so didn't get a whole lot of good sky detail. A couple more. See, like I said, I've used this lens a ton for real estate photography. Lots of images of homes and whatnot here. Let's move a little bit further over and see if I have anything besides real estate photography. And I don't really. Oh, here's an interesting home from last year on our road trip. We boondocked on the property. You can see I looks like I have some spots on my lens I still need to clean up. But this picture I took of their home, custom built home that they built on their own, totally off the grid living, super cool. Here's an image I took of a conference that I was at. I was just holding up the little brochure that came with that. I think this is one of the first images I took with the lens on one of my other cameras. I was out on a shoot, just took a quick photo. So that's the 16 to 35 millimeter GM. That is the lens that I use the most for real estate photography, but that should be changing a little bit. Moving on to the 24 to 70 GM. I need to speed things up. This video is going to be long, but I hope that you're enjoying it. You can see that I use it a little bit for real estate photography as well. I shot a bunch of photos of our travel trailer when I was selling our travel trailer. I do a lot of portraits with this. I shoot a lot of shots for my YouTube thumbnails and for some of the courses that I do. Here's some photos from Easter earlier this year. So my daughter there, my younger daughter who's growing up quite fast, and just lots of really nice details. I absolutely love this lens. Maybe if I could only choose one lens, it would be the 24 to 70 f2.8 G Master, just because it is a fantastic lens, and you can do almost anything with a 24 to 70 millimeter lens, especially if it's an f2.8. And so yeah, I used it when I took a photo. This was kind of our announcement photo that we were moving from California to Montana. I use it at conferences a lot, so there's a lot of like conference photos and stuff like that that I'll shoot. You know, not all these are winning photos, but it's a really good lens because it's super versatile. Gotta love a wall of donuts. So there's lots of conference photos in here because I did used to shoot a lot of conferences before COVID and all that stuff. Here's a flat lay image. I don't remember which one I ended up. I don't think I ended up using any of these. You know, horrible reflections and stuff. I just was kind of screwing around with lighting. did some corporate photography or some business photography. A lot more images here. You know, some of these, like I said, aren't winners. I don't know what's going on with this image. Maybe it hasn't loaded all the way, but it looks like the noise reduction was turned up to 1,000. Anyway, so let's move along, and that's about all I have. A photo of my son doing a kid's fun run, I guess you can call it. All right, let's move along. 24 to 70. I'm going to skip over the 24 to 70 f4. We're going to go to the 24mm GM, which is another lens I absolutely love. Used it quite a bit. Here's a photo, absolutely amazing photo that I love that I took in Glacier National Park. 24mm. I had to zoom in a little bit on this. As you can see, actually I zoomed in quite a bit just to show you that crop and how much detail I still had here. So I mean, if let's look at that real quick, because this image, I love this image. So here's the image, looks great, almost looks like a painting. It's just a beautiful image. But if I go all the way out to where that photo, I'm not even all the way out yet. This is where the photo started. I mean, this is how far back I was. I probably should have been back further, because you never know what's going to go on with a bighorn sheep like that. But I mean, I pulled that in tight and still had detail. And this is the Sony a6600, not even the a7R4. So the a6600 is not super high megapixel. So I was even able to crop in this much and still get a fantastic image. It's going to bother me that that crop isn't perfect. There we go. So this photo, I love just that beautiful blue glacier water. I've taken a lot of kind of sunset sky photos earlier this year when the canola fields were super bright. I was out there using this lens, just capturing some images. You got that beautiful starburst up there in the corner, stopping down to probably f16 or something like that. I use this lens a lot for those wider images because I love the rendering that it produces, and then I love being able to go down to an f1.4 if I need to. I've definitely used it for some thumbnail images for YouTube videos, and this was one that I did earlier this year. Some behind the scenes stuff when I was doing some slider moves for another video. Some knife photos. I used to take a lot of photos of my knives and coffee. And so, I mean, this is just all around a great lens for a lot of different scenarios, and it just produces amazing images. Shot photos of it when we took my son up to San Francisco to do his mission project. We filmed a video instead of doing the traditional. You can see I've taken a ton of photos here with this lens, and I just absolutely love this lens. It just produces beautiful images, and I can't get enough of it. It's a nice compact lens, and so you throw it on like the Sony a6600 or even on the a7 III or a7R4, and it just does amazing things. And it's a kind of a compact lens, so you don't have to worry about hauling around a giant lens. I mean, just it does great for portraits even. I mean, it's not a portrait lens of choice for me, but it's just a nice all-around lens. Here's some photos from when I was first testing the lens. Just great job that this lens does. Beautiful images, beautiful detail, and it should for the price. It's not a cheap lens, but it is an absolutely fantastic. Here's one of the doggo, just for good measure, and let's move on. So hopefully you're not getting bored here. This is a long video, and I apologize for that. We're going to move on to the 35mm 1.8, which I've been using a lot lately also because it's just a great little lens. Here's a photo of my kids the other day on the first day of school. A photo I took in my living room for a thumbnail. Another one for a recent video thumbnail. I was selling some of the leftover stuff I have for my Inspire 2 drone, and so I took some product photos in here. Probably should have stopped down a little bit. Not a whole lot of depth of field there. And I also used this lens when we went to Glacier to take pictures of my buddy's 4Runner, because that 12 to 24 was just a little too wide for a lot of scenarios. And so just some beautiful images. If you want to see more of these images, you'll have to go check out my photography page on Instagram, which is bigsky_visuals. All right, so moving right along, we've got the, let's jump straight up to the 70 to 200 millimeter. I use this lens a lot as well because it has great reach. It is an amazing, amazing lens. I mean, it's a great portrait lens. Just look at these kind of candid portraits that I was grabbing at this shoot that I did a few weeks ago. Just amazing images. Shoot a lot of weddings with this lens. Absolutely beautiful. This photo here, or maybe it was this one, yeah, of this guy just chilling by the water. Beautiful image. Absolutely love that image. Driving on our way out of Glacier, came across this guy just hanging out, eating in the field. Beautiful image. I absolutely love this one, but unfortunately my sharpness was not there, and so he's not in focus. The grass kind of back here is. Mistake. That would have been an absolutely great photo, but it just didn't work out. That was my fault on where I positioned the focus point. Beautiful image, super zoomed in of just a glacier. I mean, this was very far away. I wish I had a way to show you how far away we were. Let's continue to scroll and see what we've got. Some of these photos here with just kind of some atmosphere going on in the background. I love that image because it's very warm, and yeah, I don't know, I like it. This image is great. These images I was capturing the same time as those other canola field images. I love this one of the road. Beautiful yellow canola fields. Obviously, I've used this lens a ton at conferences. It's a great lens because I don't have to get up in everybody's face. I can keep my distance and get good images and zoom in and zoom out when I need to. Some images I was trying to take of myself, which are not good. I hate taking pictures of myself. Not good at all. Pictures of my kids' Christmas performance at school last year. Lots of those. My kids' belt promotion at jiu-jitsu. Just a great all-around lens for capturing pretty much anything. I said, you know, if I had to choose one lens, it would be the 24-70. I think my second lens would be the 70 to 200. And I love shooting with prime lenses. I just find that in situations like this where you want some flexibility, if all you can have is a couple of lenses, you might as well make them zoom lenses so that you have the flexibility to you know, get in close, get out wide if you need to. I mean, a lot of these images, this one's not that good. A lot of these images were in low light situations, not the best environment for capturing a photo, and the lens just performed so well and did a great job. Just, you know, random candid shots, dark backgrounds, dark clothes the person's wearing. I mean, I use this lens a lot at conferences because the rooms are huge and I need flexibility. So the next one we're going to look at is the 85, and then we're getting to the end of the list here. I don't have, oh, I guess I do have quite a few photos on here. The 85 is probably one of my favorite lenses. It's not so flexible because it's a fixed 85, but I mean, it just beautiful images. You cannot go wrong with an 85. Something's going on here with the, maybe this image hasn't totally rendered or whatever, but this image is not that noisy. So something's going on. Oh, something happened with my settings here. The grain was up and the noise reduction was, yeah, my settings got messed up, but that is an amazing image that I absolutely love. Photo of my son, just great detail in this lens. I absolutely love this lens. It would be hard to decide if I was only able to have one prime lens. It may be this one because the 85 is just so good. The images are so fantastic. I'm swiping through just trying to see what I have in here. I bought this lens right when it first came out because it's just an absolute fantastic lens. Here's a family photo we took last year before Christmas. My daughter, when she had her ballet performance, I don't remember when this is, probably like 2 years ago. I've had this lens for a while. But yeah, I mean, just a fantastic all-around lens. Just love this lens. And I'll just touch really quickly. I have the 90mm. I don't even know what I have in here as far as photos go, but the 90mm macro. Oh yeah, we've got some detail shots of some products. Not a whole lot of photos here, but I mean, this lens is great. I mean, look at the sharpness right on the edge there and the fall off. I mean, the fall off for an f2.8 lens is pretty amazing. Just some detail photos I was trying to take for some Instagram images and a YouTube video that I was working on. Fantastic images. All right, so this was a very long video, and I apologize for how long it was. I wanted to go through images and talk about these lenses. People ask me all the time, so I thought it would be fun just to sit down and actually do that. Probably might have been better as a live stream or something like that, but if you're still watching, thanks for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed taking a look at some of the photos that I've captured with different lenses and just talking about those lenses. Like I said before, let me know down in the comment section below if there's a lens you'd like more information on, to see more photos that I've captured. A lot more photos are in Adobe Lightroom Classic than in CC here, and I've been out shooting a lot lately. So if you have any questions or want any clarity on anything, definitely let me know. But that's going to do it for the video today. Thanks so much for checking it out. Make sure to check out our Instagram @GearAndLight, and we'll see you back in the next video. Take care.